Olive has giardia. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
It's a huge day for the unemployed. Another content cop just hit the towers, Mr. President. And I have to admit, I didn't expect iDubbbz to make a content deputy.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Let me explain. Because of the seriousness of the situation, iDubbbz didn't include the usual skit that comes before the rant. He just jumped right into it.
I was hoping that if I made a video about Ethan, he would act like an adult and he would keep the attacks directed at me and Anissa. Unfortunately, I was wrong in thinking that, because Ethan, in a desperate attempt to attack and smear Anissa and I, he started attacking our charity event.
For context, Creator Clash is a charity boxing event organized by iDubbbz and his wife Anissa, where several creators with virtually no boxing experience get to slug it out in the ring for guts and glory, and of course, to raise money for charity. The first Creator Clash, held in 2022, sold about 100,000 pay-per-view tickets, raising up to $1.3 million for the American Hearts Association, the Alzheimer's Association, and the Healing Horse Therapy Center. However, Creator Clash 2, held in 2023, turned out to be a total flop, selling just 50,000 and losing up to $250,000. Creator Clash 3 is in the works right now and is supposed to hold on June 28, 2025. But let's just say things are not really looking good right now. For one, Harley Morenstein, who was supposed to headline the event with LA Beast, made this cryptic post on Twitter on April 29, leaving everyone confused about whether he'll still be fighting in Creator Clash or not. It also didn't help that Ethan has been posting back-to-back about the event, and not in the most positive ways. Also, in case you haven't subscribed, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of May, so click that button and let's get on with it. With all of this going on, and Ian and Anissa losing whatever goodwill they had left with the internet, iDubbbz finally announced that he and his wife were stepping away from Creator Clash, which will now be run by the business partners who helped then put the past two events together.
The event is still happening. Anissa and I just don't have any financial ties. We don't have any ownership. We are, I think just going to be known as the founders of the event.
Moving away from the Creator Clash drama, Ian then talked about how Ethan accused him of anti-Semitism even before he knew what the content cop was about.
I think the worst criticisms I labeled at Ethan is that he's a bad boss, a tyrant of a boss. I just implied that he was being taken advantage of by people either in his community or outside of his community. That was like the summary of personal insults labeled at Ethan. Before Ethan even knew what my video was about, he was already framing me as anti-Semitic.
But he's like, no, actually, Ethan, the fucking Jew bag, this Jew bag Zionist baby killer, guys, right?
I don't know if that's what the video is.
I'm one of you. I fucking hate Jews too, guys. Let's get after it. Israelis have no right to defend themselves, actually. All Israelis are settlers, actually. What is he going to give me a history lesson now? Is he a historian?
Whatever side of the argument you're on, you still have to admit Ethan did imply that Ian was anti-Semitic quite a lot, despite promising never to weaponize the anti-Semite accusation a while ago.
In my whole life, I've never screamed foul on anti-Semitism. I literally have been getting this shit since the second I stepped foot on the internet. And I have never ever done this, okay? So the people online, they're saying, oh, Ethan's making himself a victim, or Ethan's making everything about anti-Semitism. I've done this once in my life right now.
Ian then talked about how Ethan tried to play off his attacks on Ian and Anissa by claiming that he was just venting and that his comments weren't essentially an attack.
I just said I vented about them not defending me. What the fuck is he, like, he's actually losing his shit and I just can't believe it.
About Ethan's claims that Ian didn't talk about the CPS call in his content cop video, here's what Ian had to say.
I wonder why I wouldn't mention the CPS call. Could it be that the CPS call happened the same day that you were shit-talking me? And I didn't have any chance to defend myself? You just immediately, in the same podcast, right next to each other, said, CPS call was very traumatic. And then you said, fuck Ian and Anissa. And you linked those together, you kind of layered those flavors. And then Anissa and I got a bunch of harassment.
Another notable point that Ian did make was that he and Anissa actually talked about the CPS call on their podcast.
I want to, really drive it home. We don't condone harassment of
we don't
any kind.
Condone harassment of any kind.
Of any kind, okay, period. Which is why we have not stuck our foot in any of this, because it is not productive. I don't think it's helpful. And these are real people who have real feelings.
Ethan's upset with, I think, some of our connections. And, we've tried to reach out to Ethan to talk privately. Basically, it just seems like we're at a bit of an impasse. So We want to stay out of the drama as much as possible. We don't want to pile on and add to anything. So this is our, lukewarm addressing of it.
Ian then doubled down by calling Ethan's fanbase a cult, while also accusing Ethan of mixing up the timeline of events to push a false narrative. And then finally, he decided to talk about the CPS call. And before you ask, no, he didn't defend Ethan. Quite the opposite, actually. Ian pointed out an instance where Ethan himself admitted that his child had giardia in front of over 20,000 people.
Olive has giardia. It's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has giardia.
Oh,
and now Ela has giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my god.
What can I do to not get it? From
I'm trying
to. Because I'm not trying to get it.
No, it's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
He also created a visual timeline of events, showing that the whole thing didn't happen the way Ethan tried to portray it. He also suggested that it's quite possible that the CPS call came from Ethan's own community, who got concerned about his family after hearing about the giardia situation. And then, a part of the video that really stood out to me was when Ian claimed that he and Ethan never had a close relationship, despite both of them claiming to be close friends a couple of times and making tons of videos together.
If the relationship was that close, you would have talked to me on the phone. You wouldn't have shit-talked me. You would be curious where my brain was at and where I was coming from.
The rest of the video was of iDubbbz talking about the dislike ratio on his videos, making fun of Ethan's tattoos in response to Ethan making fun of his, and a bunch of other stuff. As expected, the video was bombarded by negative comments and dislikes. And not only is iDubbbz getting cooked on social media, but it looks like creator clash might also be affected. We've opened a Pandora's box with this whole drama, and quite frankly, I don't see this ending anytime soon. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.